In Ehrman's recent book, Jesus Interrupted, he spends a lot of time trying to show that the New Testament documents, particularly the Gospels, disagree with each other at various points. What's remarkable about that discussion, though, is that Ehrman spends very little time explaining what the Gospel documents actually are as ancient historiography. In other words, what should we expect the Gospels to do as ancient biographies? Should we expect them to be like a modern biography where everything is in strict chronological order, and whenever you quote someone's words, you quote them as if you had a microphone and a tape recorder going when they spoke and everything is exactly verbatim? Well, Ehrman knows, and so does any other historian, that in the ancient world, when ancient biographies were written, those type of restrictions were not in place. It was common in the ancient world that things would be in different chronological orders. It was common in the ancient world that you would paraphrase, condense the sayings of a particular teacher or a speech that you heard for one simple and obvious reason. You can't say everything in an historical document. You have limited space. You have limited access to materials to write on. You have to have a way to take a long speech and paraphrase it down. And so Ehrman spends a lot of time in his book, Jesus Interrupted, explaining where there's discrepancies in what Jesus says in one place and what he says in another place. But the problem is, once you understand the way ancient historiography works, you realize those discrepancies, in fact, aren't discrepancies at all, but the normal way things were done back in the ancient world. One example in this regard is the cleansing of the temple. It's well known that in the Synoptic Gospels, Jesus cleanses the temple at the end of his life during the Passion Week, but John takes that very same event and shares it at the beginning of his Gospel. And the question is John telling something that's contradictory to the Gospels because he has Jesus cleansing the temple at the beginning of his ministry, and the Synoptics have Jesus cleansing the temple at the end of his ministry? Well, again, when you understand ancient historiography, often authors take a story from a particular individual's life and don't put it in chronological order, but for thematic reasons, topical reasons, and other reasons, put it in different places. It seems to be exactly what John is doing there. He wants to tell the story of Jesus cleansing the temple at the very beginning of his gospel for his own reasons, one particular reason being that John has a great emphasis on the temple and on Jesus being the new temple, the one who would replace the temple. And so there's no doubt then that John has rearranged things outside their strict chronological order for thematic reasons. Does that mean it's unhistorical? No. It just means you have to understand the way ancient biographies actually worked.